I'm Matt Reynolds, and this is my podcast.
I can do the job, but running the business is quite difficult. What a lot of tradesmen lack, and I was probably one of them, is business skills.
I don't mind making mistakes. You learn from your mistakes.
Information is all around you in the minds of people that work beside you.
Welcome back to the Trench Talk podcast. I'm Matt Reynolds, and this week I sat down with Logan Nathan to discuss the app he, along with his team, has developed and built for the building and maintenance industry called i4Tradies. The idea of these discussions, for those of you joining us for the first time, is to go into the trenches of achievement and talk not with people who are orchestrating from some lofty perspective, but to those high performers who are actually in the trenches honing their craft. That has included guests from the worlds of business, sport and entertainment, all of whom are on the front lines doing amazing things. Logan is an electronics engineer, Microsoft brand ambassador and former employee of BHP, one of Australia's biggest companies where, at the risk of getting a little techie, he rolled out the first IBM PS2 machine, the most powerful computer at the time, before then, a little later on, introducing the first Apple Macintosh computer to the BHP network. Logan has also worked for Cathay Pacific and Alliance, the airline group, where he spent an entire career pushing the boundaries of technology implementation. He's an author and he's now attempting to transform the trade industry, starting right here in Australia. We spent most of this episode discussing the app, what it does, and how Logan is doing things very differently. No one, at least as far as I have found, has cracked the trade space and developed a true marketplace app where the end customer, the field workers, their office staff, and in some cases a facilities or property manager can all talk to each other inside the one platform. There are, of course, many lead generation companies who simply connect customers with tradesmen, and there are also companies who handle the back end of a trade operation, including employee scheduling and job management, etc. But no one, again, at least as far as I'm aware of, has connected all four parties like Logan has been able to do. I'm currently testing the app myself. If you'd like to know more about i4Tradies, you can head to i4Tradies.com.au where you can trial the app for free. That's i4Tradies.com.au. If you enjoy the show, please remember to hit the subscribe button inside your chosen podcast player. I get quite a few requests for guests and other ideas for the show, so if you have any suggestions of your own or just want to say hi, you can email me podcast@xrm.com.au. We did record this episode in what turned out to be a pretty noisy room, so please excuse the traffic noise that does come and go and enjoy my chat with Logan Nathan. Logan Nathan, thanks for stopping in and doing this. Now tell me, for someone who doesn't know what you do, let's jump right in. i4Tradies, what is it?
Thank you, Matt, for inviting me first.
No problems.
i4Tradies, an interesting one. What it is to really change the way trade services work today and communicate with the clients. So if you want to call it in one simple term, it's a customer-centric business solution that will change the way how tradies interact with the customers.
And change in which way?
Change in the way, react to the requests, react to actually doing the work, react to actually completing the work, and most importantly, keeping the relationship going on an ongoing basis.
Because there's a number of apps out there, and I'll play devil's advocate just for a second.
Sure.
There's a lot of options in terms of connecting a potential job and a potential client with 1, 2 or 3 tradesmen and setting off a little bit, if you like, auction for the work.
Sure.
How are you different?
Okay, like you rightly said, there are a lot of solutions out there, either on a lead generation point of view, to really get the tradies to work for them or to do the job, or the tradies themselves or the business owners to do their back office work. But nothing there exists to connect the two together. So if I can explain in this way, if you take a typical trade services business process overall, there are 3 stakeholders in play. One, consumer, just like you and I, looking for a job to be done. And typically a business owner who actually runs a trade business like plumbing or electrical business or whatever. And then the third one, the employees that work for them who are on the road. So if you really look at all these 3 stakeholders, they have got different requirement to get the job done in a particular business cycle. What i4Tradies is all about is connecting those three. And I'll talk about the fourth one later on as we progress.
So no other option out there in terms of a app, a program or whatever currently connects those three. Is that right?
The way we have done it. It really gives a 360-degree cycle of a business process.
Let's walk through it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a customer.
Yep.
I have a burst pipe. Tell me, what do I do?
Okay, very simple. Either you happen to know that the app exists, or you downloaded it already. So all you do is search for a plumber that with the requirements, like you said, a burst pipe.
Yes.
And before you actually, if you didn't have any relationship before, you could actually look for the plumber near your area. The app will bring it up the closest to your area based on the distance.
Okay,
and
so
based on the rating.
It understands location.
Correct.
Yep.
And also understands the rating of the previous history of that particular plumbing company.
Yes.
So it'll be in that order. And then if I select one, I can actually dip deep into it by asking, is it a credible tradie? Have they got license? Have they got insurance? Have they got association with the others? What are the previous ratings like? So in other words, I can get all this independent information without even talking to a trade services company. And if I like it, then I just confirm and go to the next page where I can simply just say what my problem is. And if I can give a credible image, and in the future will be video, then I can take the video, image and just send it to them. On the other side, the trade service company will actually get that on their dashboard, and then they can respond to it accordingly.
So that's the connection of the client
Correct.
and the plumber.
Correct.
So what happens after that in the back end behind there, like from a business owner's point of view?
Sure.
Then what happens?
Okay. So the business owner typically got a dashboard either on their web or on their mobile. If they're running around, if it's a small business, sole tradie, they're running around, they actually have an app that they can visually see what's going on.
Okay.
So once they receive the job, of course, it actually alerts them. If they want to even have SMS alert or even an email alert, if they want to, or the normal notification through an app or to their web.
Okay.
Once they receive it, they can quickly, if they need some clarification, they can pick up the phone and talk to the client if that's required. And in the future, we will have that chat, two-way chat as well. But right now, this particular version doesn't have that. Or if it is a standard request, they can really verify what it is. They can then send a reply back to the client, which all done automatically without even talking to them.
So that's all done within the app?
Within the app. And then the client, upon requesting that information, they can really accept or reject that request. Does that make sense?
Yes. So then you've got the customer effectively logging that information as a business owner into your back office.
Correct.
And then you push it out from there to your people that work for you, or you take that upon yourself to deal with it. How does that play out?
So once the request gone back and customer accepts it, another notification comes there and say it's a confirmed job. So it's no longer a request for a job. It's now a confirmed job. Up to the trade business owner to schedule that business.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Either they can push it up straight away to a particular tradie on the road, or they could actually schedule for another time based on the urgency of that job. Let's say that needs to be pushed out, but there's no urgency here. They have two options. One is the way the system is developed, they can actually organize the tradie skills level, in other words, the employees or the staff that works for them, their skill level. Based on the skill level, matching with the request, they can actually send a bid out. In other words, every tradie on the road matching the skill will a request on their app, which is the employee app.
So when you're saying a bid, you're talking about within your own company?
Correct, within not outside,
okay.
Within their own company. This is ideal for cleaning companies, where they got a lot of temporary staff everywhere. Suddenly they get a request, they don't know which one to pick it up.
Yeah, that's why it's called a bid.
Yeah, bit like your Uber car at the moment.
Yeah, so you could also use it as an allocation service too,
of
right?
Course,
if you have your own direct employees.
Correct. Or you know that you want a particular person to be sent, then you can actually allocate to that particular individual. Then that individual get an alert, and that person can either accept or reject that job.
So all your calendar sort of standard things, day-to-day, organising workflows and all that sort of stuff, that's still done at an office point and then inputted into a calendar within the app? Is that how that works?
No, it's within the calendar. They can just drop and drag into a calendar.
Okay.
Automatically, the trade person that allocated get notified. So it's just simple drag and drop.
It's obviously up to the minute in terms of the accuracy of
Yep.
the people inputting
Correct.
data.
Correct.
Does it work forward in terms of bookings and that as well? Like you can, if I want to schedule my gas technician as an example for his entire 8-hour day or whatever it happens to be tomorrow, can I do that in advance?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So we actually found out from the tradies using the system, some of them would like their employees to be notified upfront.
Yes.
Some of them don't like to be notified upfront. They prefer to manage them on a day-to-day basis.
And it probably depends a little bit on the individual employee too within each company.
Exactly, exactly. So we have that option now to, when they put the schedule in there, notify the employee immediately or do not notify the employee immediately.
Okay.
And then they can take it on the following day to say, now, here is your job for the following day.
So then it gets pushed out to the
Employee.
technician on the road, whoever that is.
And that person gets up in the morning and they can, if the company wants them to be seeing the entire work schedule for the day, they can see it. Or the company wants them to see it only by the day's progress.
Yes.
Because some employers would prefer them to see it per job.
Yep.
Because they don't want them to rush from one job to another.
Uh-huh.
So they give them the job, they can go and do it, and they complete. Then the employer can allocate another job and so on. Right?
Okay.
So the two way to operate, we have that flexibility in that app to do both ways.
And let's talk, I've played around a little bit with the app.
Yep.
Let's talk about some of the alerts and notifications in terms of travel times and that. So if I'm a technician on the road and I finish a job and I accept or tell the app that I'm going to the next one, what happens in terms of notifying the customer?
At the minute they accept the job, the customer get notified such and such an individual has been allocated to the job.
Yes.
It doesn't say exactly when that person is going to turn up at that time.
Yep.
When the technician is ready to go to that location, they actually press the button, say, on the way.
Okay.
It get notified, just like you get an Uber car today. And the customer then know exactly how far away the technician is, exactly the route that they're taking to come to their place, and what time they expect to arrive to the minute.
So you can see that in a map within the app, I'm assuming?
Correct. It's a live Google map.
Okay.
They can see.
And you can see them
Correct. Coming.
Just
Like your Uber car today.
Is there any provisions if a technician is running late, if they're running early, if the person forgets to stay
I know
home
you were
that
going to
day
ask me that question.
and goes out, because we've all gone as tradesmen to a confirmed booking,
Correct.
and the person's forgotten or running late or whatever. So
Guess what? Just like others already in the market, they can press a button and send an SMS to the client to say I'm running late or I'm stuck, or they can press a button, talk to the client.
Okay.
All within the app, because when they actually got allocated the job, they would have had the customer's mobile number to talk to.
So you were ringing people inside the app. It's
Correct.
not a phone call outside of the app.
It is a phone call, but is dealt within the app.
So very similar to how you communicate, again, with an Uber driver.
Correct.
To give them specific,
Correct.
I'm just around the corner, pick up details or whatever is needed.
Yeah.
So you've got the alert, then you commute to the job,
Yep.
you arrive.
And this is what the beautiful part is. I think a lot of the times that people hate people coming and ringing the bell, especially the young mom, kids sleeping and so on.
I've come
So
across
all they do is
plenty of signs on doors
exactly
in my time, that's for sure.
Don't ring the bell.
Exactly, yeah.
So as soon as they're outside, they just say they arrived at the job, which then notify the employer back in the office, and also the customer to say the individual is outside.
Okay.
And I've actually tested myself with real jobs. I just simply go and open the door and welcome them. I'll tell you a great story that one tradie told me only 3 days ago. He said that the location was there, but the map was a little bit confusing, so he just closed by and pressed the button, say, I'm arrived. And guess what? The individual, the customer, opened the door and looked for them and spotted the car and waved it and said, come on in. So that really helped in many different ways. And really the idea is not to ring the bell and prepare yourself that say you're outside. Give a time for the client to come and open the door. And also for security reasons as well. That you don't just go and open the door for strangers. You know that information is there. This is going to be the huge issue moving forward.
I think a lot of times, not just with maintenance jobs, but probably life in general, it's all about the setup, right?
Correct.
And we noticed a huge difference within our company when we started phoning ahead and actually letting people know we're on our way.
Yeah.
Because I guess they get in the mindset of having someone in their house. Not everyone's comfortable with that sort of thing. So it just really gives you the best chance of doing the best job if people are welcoming from the start.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Exactly.
And that's about just tightening up that process and formalising it, if you like, and giving whoever's walking in the best shot at it.
Exactly. I mean, first impression is everything. And he is a company giving the first impression the right way. I'm actually can give you lots of stories about tradies right now using this app and feeling that warm, fuzzy feeling from the client's point of view.
Yeah, it goes from the who the heck are you to
Correct.
Welcome, come in.
Correct.
So you carry out the job. There's not much an app can do with that yet.
Not really. There's a lot more there to do.
In hands-on, actually getting the job done.
Not really, because one of the biggest problem for tradies backtracking a job is the evidence the job is done.
Yes.
Also for the client. What is it that I'm paying for? Whatever the dollar that I'm paying for. So the idea behind the app is that they take a picture of whatever the job, let's say a ceiling fan or a plumbing job that, a mess that is there, find it, burst pipe, whatever it is, they take a picture and that gives the evidence, what are they starting with.
Mm-hmm.
Then they put the mobile away, the app away, and then do the job. When they complete it, take a picture again.
Okay.
And they can also take pictures in between as well in case they open up that evidence and find more information that they need to take it on. Not just necessarily for the client, but also for their own learning purpose in the future. So you can keep on taking pictures, and take the entire evidence that actually goes into the cloud.
Okay.
When they completed it, every time that step is taken, the employer get notified back in the head office.
Every time the photo's taken, time...
Not really the photos taken.
Right.
I just started the job.
Yes.
And I put on hold because they have to go and get a part.
Okay.
And they know it's on hold.
So kind of
major
points in time. Yeah, okay.
What I call it every touch points that required.
Yeah.
Right? Customer touch point. And when they completed it, they can just press the button and say it's completed. And then that get notified and then they can ready for the payment.
Yeah.
The invoice comes out. You will never see an invoice in a tradies environment like this. Invoice with exactly the person's picture, who it is, what time they turned up, before and after picture, itemize every information, including GST and so on, terms and conditions, everything is onto their app. And guess what? That's stored there forever. And they have the option to pay cash, credit card, or bank transfer.
I want to come back to that invoice in just a second,
Yep.
but right now the payments aren't done within the app. Is that right?
Well, at the moment, the version we have, the payment is taken through a handheld device.
Okay.
Soon, we'll be actually connecting through Apple Pay and Android as well, that they can just take their credit card and tap it away. If it's going to be paid by credit card, the job is done.
Is there going to be facilities in the future, or are you looking at it, that you can preload your payment information into the app like you do? Again, we'll come back to Uber again. You put all your details in, you ride, and then it's just you close the app. It's all done. It's all paid for. Everything. Is that going to be an option going forward, rather than have to get out that credit card, swipe it, or whatever?
Great that you asked me about it, Matt. Definitely.
It will,
because the idea is to reduce time and most importantly, customers' point of view. Remember, this is a customer-centric system. Have less surprises. So more and more tradies that we are using wanted to have an inventory system, such a way when a service is requested, that inventory is loaded, and they can pre-plan and have an estimated close to accuracy. No jobs you can really say, this is it. Even the Uber, same thing. They're stuck and reroute or whatever, the amount is different, right?
Yep.
But definitely an estimation of what the job is going to be is definitely it's already on the cards. In fact, our development guys are already looking at it. We are working with some of the customers to get the inventory loaded up. So at the time of requesting the job, they can actually itemize that information, send it back to them. Right.
Okay, so a job, let's just say you've got a burst pipe. It's probably a little bit harder to estimate with those sort of things, right? But something like changing tap washers, a leaking tap, you can probably confidently say, look, these jobs, whatever it might be for that particular tradesman in that particular area, or however it plays out. So that's where you're thinking of going.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, Matt, through our journey talking to hundreds of trade businesses to date, everyone got their own way of doing things. And a
That's
lot
true.
of them are a bit reluctant to change the way they have been doing for years.
That's also true.
and so we have to recognize and accommodate them. And in that respect, yes, we do have it. From a very simple, I'll turn up and do it for fixed price, to a flexibility of, here is what I've estimated to be, and then give them the additional if that's required to be done.
Okay.
Right? You probably thought about it, or maybe you were going to ask me this, so I'll jump in. What happens if suddenly another job come through while they're there?
In terms of the same customer says who you're fixing the burst pipe for, to use that
Can you
example,
also do this
can
for
you
me?
also look at my
Correct.
dishwasher or whatever? Yep.
Guess what? The tradie can actually create another job on the spot and start doing that work without having to ask the company owner, can I do that, if they're allowed to do that. So every employee has got what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. And if they're allowed to do, they can actually go ahead and do that themselves.
And how does that work in terms of call-out fees, costings and all that? Is that all set by the individual business?
Correct.
Okay.
Everyone can set it up through the back office. So the dashboard itself is private to them, right? Because no business is alike, as you know.
Yes.
Right? Everyone's got their own way of doing things. And so the dashboard allows them to set the pricing, do whatever the inventory pricing they want to have, give them the flexibility to charge the way they want to have it done.
Are we going to get to the point where a customer can find us and book a job, we can go and do a job and complete it in terms of money in the bank without having to speak to them, email them, swipe a credit card, all of those pain points, if you like?
Yeah.
Is that going to be all automated in the end?
Well, the answer is yes, but
Yes.
can I just say, to surprise to us, we have first time a hard of hearing tradie is using our system. He can't talk to the client,
He can't use the telephone.
and he can't use mobile,
Yes.
and he's using the app to communicate it. And for him, it's a lifesaver. i4Tradies is.
And does he
So
work
it's-
for himself?
Yes, he's a cleaner,
Right.
and he's using all of that and communicating with the client right now. And there is a story on our blog site about this individual.
Well, anyone who has a hearing impairment is going to be jumping at any opportunity
Correct.
to take that, I guess, what could be a disadvantage in some regards, and turning that around and making it
Correct.
actually a real advantage.
Correct. But going back to your question about automating it,
Yes.
some sort of AI, artificial intelligence, that comes into play.
Yes.
I'm great favor of all this technology. At the same time, we should not lose the sight of being with the client and having some interaction.
Yes.
So I think we've got to balance this. Technology is fantastic as long as the human interaction is balanced with it. Right?
I'm
Because
really-
at the end of the day, that's what the tradies also enjoy, apart from being hands-on and doing the work with a bit of an interaction with the client and so on. So we should be careful how much we want to take it away from that aspect of it and then balance it. But I'm sure future generation will get used to it and just probably don't want to even see the individual and do it. Right now, on that, if you have an aging parents or somebody that really not able to communicate with the tradie, right now with the customer app, individual can be in the office or somewhere else in the location, could call out the tradie, monitor the entire progress in another location. This person can be anywhere in Australia, anywhere in the world, and looking for things to be done. Particularly for the landlords, if they want a tradie to be, rather than going through a real estate agent, they want to do it themselves, they can actually use the app, say, okay, go to my, property rental location, do the job, and they can actually monitor the entire thing through the app. That's another thing that probably nobody has done that before.
And what about the person they're paying, be it their facility manager, their property manager, their portfolio manager, or whatever title they have? Can they do that as well?
Well, they can actually have them on an account if they've got a regular tradie that's doing the work.
Yes.
Or they can really say cash or bank transfer and then transfer the money to that particular person.
No, I'm not in terms of payment, in terms of monitoring the job. Like if I have my rental property managed by a company, a real estate company,
Yes. You're coming into the...
Yeah, can the manager have that same overview of everything that's going on as well?
Okay, so you're now coming to the fourth stakeholder, right? While we talked about the three stakeholders, the consumer,
Yes.
customers like you and I, and the trade business owner, and on-the-road tradie, the employees. Now we've got the fourth one, which managers like real estate agents, startup managers, or large property managers. They come into play. Today, they find it very difficult to have the visibility and the management of it meeting their service level agreement with their clients. Typically, the rental owners, landlords.
Extremely time consuming.
Exactly. So what we are proposing is the white label of the trade business owners version to the strata managers and to the middle facilitators, if you want to call it, and get them to manage and have the flexibility. Either they can manage it themselves and pay for it and then collect the money from the tenant or the landlord, or have the flexibility to really assign the right tradespeople through the app and just monitor the situation but never have to deal with the money. So we have all sorts of flexibility, such a way that end of the day, customer is the king. This is a customer-centric one. So we want to make sure that the end customer and the facilitator get the best deal out of it, and most importantly, the time-consuming, the pain tasks taken out of it.
You've got a customer, let's say in a tenant situation.
Yep.
The customer will really be the tenant, right? You've
Correct.
got the technician doing the job.
Correct.
You've got the company that sends the technician out. You've got the manager. So then the landlord sits almost in another spot, don't
Correct.
they? So do they need to somehow look in on their portfolio within the facilities managers app? Because just to be clear, these are 4 separate apps, aren't they?
Correct.
So if you actually go to the App Store, Apple, Android, you search i4Tradies, there's 3 options there currently,
Correct.
which is the 3 minus
Consumer,
the facility. Yeah, the consumer,
employee, and business owner.
Okay, but they all talk to each other, so they're all
Correct.
linked to the one system.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so then we've got this facilities manager app that's coming, being the 4th one.
Yep.
Where does the landlord or the owner sit in that?
Okay, so that's why I said it's a white label one, because again, just like the business owners, the facilities managers, if you want to call it, they operate differently and they have different service level agreement with their clients.
Yes.
Right? Some landlords prefer to deal directly and take care of their money. Some clients would like to, do everything done outsourced to the facilities manager, and they pay a, fee end of the month for their service plus whatever the cost.
Yep.
The white labeling of it, it's done with the intention of making sure their requirements are met. In other words, the facilities manager's requirements are met. The value added for that white label is about making sure they meet their service level agreement with their landlords or their property owners, and making sure that the tenants are happy in terms of management of whatever the requirements are done.
Yep.
Attend to that importance. Give you a slight story on this one.
Sure.
One of the plumbers got a call from a real estate agent to say, guys, our tenants is disputing that you haven't turned up to do the job. And of course, the landlord's also got the bill. So normally, the plumber panics because it's all paperwork, and
That's
I think
true.
you know yourself, it's a lot of work.
Yep.
And he said, not a problem. Went straight to i4Tradies, able to pick up every trace of the job from the job coming right up to the invoicing type of it, cut and paste into an email and send it to the real estate property manager. And needless to say, she was shocked and had a jaw-dropping feeling, because never that sort of information given by a trade business owner in the past.
Yeah.
And with the other party, the business owner, normally can't even recover that $300 that he would have lost otherwise, because the recovery period to go and get all that information, it cost him, business point of view, a lot more than the $300.
Of course.
So here's a typical example of it. Let me give you another one that come to mind. I went to visit one of the largest schools where they have to deal with a lot of tradies. When they saw this app, they said, Logan, this is fantastic. Can we do one more thing with this? We can't invite tradies unless they have working with children license. Okay? For them, it's the biggest time-consuming task to ring around and say, have you got a working with children certificate? And so on and so on. So that sometimes I spend half an hour, 1 hour on the phone just to find the right tradie. Guess what? We have modified the app such a way today, with flick of a button, they can shortlist tradies that working with children certificate. And this now can be used by any university, any schools, and the facilities managers there can invite a tradie with ease. That all been done by i4Tradies.
So if you have a criteria like working with children, maybe it's working at heights, maybe it's one of the
Correct.
other official certifications.
Yeah.
When you log a job, you can filter by those qualifications. And then when you look at them, I know this because I've played it with the app, you can actually view that and you could
Certify it, make sure that's the case.
make sure it's right. I suppose you could take a copy of it if you needed it for your own system.
Correct.
And know that who's coming out is pre-checked, pre-qualified and ready to go.
Exactly the point.
Okay.
So that's why we feel i4Tradies, we're not going to have every tradie that exists in Australia. We want to make sure what we call it certified tradies. So we go through a vigorous process to make sure that tradies got all of this information, and based on the information we have, they get the best job allocated. By the way, when a tradie actually put their register with i4Tradies, they can really choose what are the location they want to be visible. So they can choose, from my office, I'm happy to service up to 30 kilometers, 50 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers, and so on.
So the tradies choose where they want to work.
Exactly.
So this is a real issue. You're talking about consistency in tradesmen.
Yeah.
If you look at a company, our analogy Uber again, they really have a strict set of criteria that they force their drivers to adhere to. Standard of car, a model within a certain number of past years, and all this sort of thing. So they've built a brand around, obviously, Uber. We talk about Uber, we don't talk about the drivers, right?
Yeah.
So how are you going to get consistency? Because you said before that every trades business operates different. So how are you going to get that consistency to build the reputation and brand of the app?
Great question, Matt. We thought about that too. Remember, every job gets rated by the client.
Yes.
By the way, the employee also can rate the client, because sometimes some of the clients they probably never want to turn up to.
So it's a two-way thing that's becoming pretty common now.
Nowadays. But just to answer your question, yes, these get rated. In our agreement, if the trades company consistently getting a lower rating, right? This is, I'm talking, less than 10% of their job, they're getting rated 1 or 2, we will actually send them a warning. And if they're consistently in another month, we actually can terminate the agreement using i4Tradies. So that's how vigorous we're going to be, on top of the business owner who really want to use i4Tradies, already switched on to this anyway, and they can really, for the first time, check the employee. Because you can have the great company, a tradie on the road have a bad day, could actually do the damage for you. But instead of finding this out weeks and months later, and the customer never come back to you, you can actually find out instantly through this feedback. So that's another thing for corrective action point of view on the business owner's perspective, and an i4Tradies management perspective. The visibility is there for us to take corrective action immediately or thereafter.
So you're really putting it on the face of the company, being it the tradesman on the job at the time and the customer, working out if either of them are worth working for in the future.
Correct. Because the idea behind this i4Tradies app is not about trying to look for a different tradie every time, but it's all about building a relationship with particular tradesperson.
Okay.
So if you've got a 5-star rating, next time if you're looking for a plumber, it automatically default to that particular plumber. Unless, as a consumer, I want to change for whatever the reason.
So when you upload a job, how does the app, let's say, I'm in any suburb, I've lodged that burst pipe job, there's 4 plumbers in the area.
Yep.
Who does the client get?
You choose. The client chooses based on the rating. It'll be actually on the order of the rating.
So is it important then, I'm thinking from a company's point of view now, to rank highly within the app?
You got it.
So it's like rating on Google, your current search, within the app, you want to achieve exactly the same thing.
Exactly the point.
So we're talking about a fundamental shift where owners, particularly a small business, could control a lot of that service from an office point of view by training the person, being another partner or family member or whatever, to the receptionist that sits 2 desks away, to say the right things and do the right things. That's going to be taken away a little bit, and that's going to be pushed to the tradesman. Have I got that correct?
Correct. In fact, the whole thought process behind creating i4Tradies is exactly that, Matt. What I learned writing that book about digital transformation for SMEs, the disruption that are happening with Uber and Airbnb and Netflix and all of these, only one thing: be customer focused.
Yeah.
Today, tradies, with all the respect to them, they are not. Right? So this is going to change the way. It's not, let me correct that. It's not that they are not given the opportunity to measure and correct themselves.
Yeah, and it's
With
not
iPhone.
everyone. It's just that broadly speaking.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this app will get them to really be focused and correct it whenever that is point. It can be done immediately, and this is what the whole thing is all about. Let me also give you another vision that I have. In the future, the trade business owners, unless they are customer focused, they're going to be difficult to exist, purely because of the technology now allows people to communicate back straight to the community before even they know it. That's why every business owners, particularly trade business owners, got to be switched on for being customer focused and listen to customer feedback. That's what this is all about. So it's an opportunity for them to correct and change the way they do business.
Yeah, I think as tradesmen, as a trade industry, we're yet to be forced through that fundamental shift, if you like. You know, Airbnb's has done it to hotels, Uber's done it to the taxi industry. We really haven't had to go to this level yet, but it's getting closer and closer, whatever your opinion is, because as more of these companies get across the line in terms of that conversion to an app-based and ratings-based and this way of doing things, customers get used to it.
Correct.
And they get conditioned, right?
Correct.
So if you're brought up, I mean, if you're under, 25 or something now?
No, 35.
35?
Yeah,
you're going to
less
be
than
very...
technology savvy.
For sure. So you're going to expect that. So that's just going to become a prerequisite of just being in business, right? You're going to have to do it that way. You're going to have to lift the level of your game to be up to what the customers just expect, whether that's right or wrong, just like when Amazon starts in Australia.
Well, that's going to shake up a lot of retailers.
Because if you don't deliver in a couple of hours, people will get used to that. If you don't, it just highlights that area of your business, right?
Correct.
And it's going to be harder to get and keep customers if you don't keep up to that, what will become a minimum standard. I'm sure of that, if nothing else.
Exactly. So it is consumer that's going to really demand the way they expect the service to be delivered. And that's what the whole thing is all about. So i4Tradies, it's really giving them an opportunity, the trade business, to change their behavior, change the way the business process works, and be part of that process.
Yep.
And I can tell you, just 3 years ago, this was not possible.
The
Because
technology wasn't around.
wasn't really matured enough to do this.
Okay.
It's only in the last couple of years, 3 years, that really matured enough for us to develop such a system and bring it to market.
I was actually thinking about this over the past weekend because I'm one of probably thousands of traders out there who spent, I did a rough calculation in my head. I think that we've probably spent in excess of 6 figures trying to implement in the past a job management system similar to what this at this stage appears to be, and it hasn't worked, and we've had to go back to our old ways of doing things. What do you say to those companies who hear about this and think, as I initially did, it wasn't until someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, you should take a closer look at this, that I did. What do you say to those companies that are, here we go again?
Well, I can just say, just listen to what happened to Uber. The taxi drivers paid 300, 400, 500,000 for a number plate, and how that value dropped overnight. If you are not prepared to disrupt the way your business is working, and if you really think that my system works, but it's not customer focused, think again. And in terms of cost, there is not really any more cost there. It's today's technology is all about pay as you benefit, right? So coming back to i4Tradies, it costs nothing for the consumer to use it. It costs the employers or the trade business owners as they benefit out of the system. So we are taking the pain out away, all the capital, everything that you're talking about, and distributing it and benefiting from the transaction based rather than, let me build a customized solution, right? Today's the customized solution is all about what the customer wants, what not the company wants.
When they want it?
How they want it.
Yeah.
And therefore, the other challenge for those technologies that you're talking about that existed only about 4 or 5 years ago, the technology is changing so fast, you can't keep up with it. So if anybody is paying internally, they are really draining their money, wasting their money unnecessarily, because it doesn't matter what they do, it's going to be outdated within 2 to 3 years. What we are promising to our clients, we let you do your work, you focus on your work, let us know what the technology that you want, we will take the journey with you.
In a really on-the-ground, day-to-day business sense, you're encouraging business owners to outsource the technology component of their business.
Correct. So this is basically a platform for them to run the business where they want to run it. So the system itself is flexible enough to configure the way they want to run the business, albeit got to be customer focused. That's the underlying changes that they need to make.
So this system right now is going to be, as you said, outdated 3, 4, 5 years from now. How are you going to keep up with this development to ensure that you don't fall behind also?
Yeah, okay, very good question here. One of the lessons that we all learned from IBM, Microsoft, Google, all of them actually superseded by some other technology, Facebook and so on.
Yep.
The change here to stay. Nobody can just claim that they have a solution and it's going to work for the next 5 years.
Yes.
All we tell our client is come up with us and take the journey with us. In fact, what we are hoping is that a lot of the trade business owners are going to be the owners of this solution, and they are the one going to be behind it to make sure we run this business moving forward over the next many years.
What do you mean by owners?
Being in the future, what we are hoping is that this platform will be publicly available for people to invest on it, and we are hoping that trade businesses invest on it and be encouraged to input their requirement and take the journey moving forward. Already we have a couple of big companies have invested on us, being the trade service company, who are really excited about the future of what this can do for them and for other trade services.
And do you know, so you're looking at a public listing, is what you're saying?
Well, sooner or later we're going to be publicly listed.
So that big picture, you're thinking about the big picture, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
How's the uptake been?
So far, we have been going very slow, deliberately, because we want to make sure that whatever that comes into the market, we got to be completely tested properly. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean we can do that in a month or two.
Yep.
We want to do a vigorous test. We have started the beta back in September last year, and we have gone live in April, and we have still got about 20 plus trade services companies testing it vigorously, and we are about to accelerate to the next level. So come January, we'll be actually going bigger to a much bigger customer base, and also we also want to expand our wings to overseas, because we have trade service companies in overseas, like in the UK and Europe and the US. Have already seen this, and they want to already start pilot our service. So we feel that next year, that's a time for us to go and pilot and also expand overseas in 2018.
So acquisition of customers and trade businesses, which you need to get, it's got to be a bit of a seesaw act, right? You've
Correct.
Got to get, one's got to service the other and supply the other with work.
So one thing I forgot to mention earlier on, the customer app, customer doesn't have to download today. So say, if you're a plumbing company, you have an existing client, or you get a typical the current style telephone call or a web inquiry.
Yes.
You actually create the client and send the notification out, and you can actually do that without even client using the app. The entire
so
business cycle.
This is an
However,
existing
they get
business
existing client.
Yeah.
Correct.
So existing business who's got existing clients can transfer their clients and then start using the app without them having to lodge initially through the app. Just to be clear.
Correct. They get notified, have that option.
Yes.
If they don't want to use the app, doesn't matter.
Yep.
They just simply go back to the old way of expecting a service and then pay for it and so on. However, any time they decide to download the app, guess what? The whole history is there for them to tap into.
So that's something you can build for your clients even if they don't want it.
Correct. That's how we build the clients so far, majority of them.
So you're putting together, I assume, or need to start putting together some sort of sales team, some sort of team to spread the word, right?
Correct. So the word out there is growth hacking online.
Yeah.
So we have come up with quite a lot of campaign. One of them is Free Trade Day that we have actually joined with the company in Central Coast, Ryan Wilson, who's actually started this, selected i4Tradies as their preferred app to really run this campaign come August.
Okay.
With that, we expect a fair bit of advertisement and awareness of our app exists. And that's not the only campaign. We also have a couple of other large facilities management clients.
Just to go back to that first campaign, the Free Trades Day, before
Sure.
All the tradies are seeing this drive off the road. That's a charity thing, right?
Correct.
Where you can, through the app, you can nominate a person in need, I guess you'd say,
Correct.
for something that they might need done around their house.
Correct.
So in line with a lot of the go in and redo backyard sort of themes that we see a little bit through TV shows and that at the moment. So
Correct.
it's taking that and probably doing it on a much smaller level as well.
Correct. For that, everyone will be downloading and also can refer as some deserving family. So that's the idea behind it.
Yeah.
So we are expecting thousands of jobs to be done by tradies in most states around Australia come August next year.
Yeah.
Coming back to the other way of getting this growth going very quickly, we are in discussion with some of the largest facilities managers in Australia, and with the white label of their fourth element that we talked about, this get introduced to large number of clients very quickly.
Okay.
So we expect exponential growth towards later part of 2018.
How close is that fourth element to being an app, downloadable app?
Well, it's not a downloadable app for anyone. It's only for the facilities manager. So the fourth element is not public.
You won't see that in the App Store?
It won't be it will be available only for their facilities managers. So for a large company with multiple facilities managers all around Australia, they could download the app, but only specifically available to them.
Oh, so it's restricted, like a customer can't download the business owner's app and use it. Because you've got to go through the verification program.
Correct.
So upload all your licenses, tickets, working with children, and all that sort of stuff.
Correct.
How long does that process take?
I would say depends on the client. The client, a couple of clients that we are talking to, could take up to about 6 months to get that done properly.
Just because of the size of the organisation.
Correct.
Okay, so let's not scare anyone here. If you've got 1 to 5 people working for you, and you're a plumber, an electrician, because this is for all trades, right?
Oh, you're talking about business trade owners right now?
Yes.
Yep. We can actually set them up within 2 days.
Okay.
Provided they give the documentation.
Okay.
Right?
Got it. Because when 6
running,
months seems like a long time for those small
sorry,
businesses, but you're talking about large multi-site, multinational companies.
Correct.
Okay.
We're talking about small businesses, ideally with 3 to 10 employees, get them running within a week. And we have actually observed with the tradie app being on the road app, you can give it to people. We have all different ages. They can use it within half an hour.
One thing that I'll point out that I was impressed with is that every screen that you go into for the first time, it pops up with about a 1 minute, roughly speaking, audio instruction on what to do. Go to this section, do this. After you've done that, that'll lead here to actually walk you through what's happening, right? So it's very...
Self-training.
It's self-training. It's intuitive, but even if it's not, you've got the instructions there. Like you kind of really can't go too wrong, can you?
Yeah. Because the consumer app is really meant for all ages. So we don't want to really somebody to miss out because they can't do it. So we want to make sure that we go out of the way to really make sure that they can do it. Soon, they will have videos on YouTube that they can listen to the whole process. So they can just walk through the whole thing that you just asked me, the number of questions. In a 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes videos that explain what the benefit about i4Tradies app.
I want to go back to the invoice for a second. Because one of the issues with running a trade business, particularly a maintenance style of business, is that most of the invoicing, the centre of that invoice becomes the description, which is written up by tradesmen in the field, right? Now, there's a few other elements to the invoices that you spoke about before. And if you had told me without me actually seeing it, to be perfectly honest, I don't think I really would have believed you. But the way that you've actually done it, and whether this is on purpose or not, you've taken the focus right out of those descriptions and you've put it onto the map that comes with the invoice. So if you've used Uber, you get a receipt, you get emailed a receipt. There's a map there where you've been, how long it took, and all that sort of stuff. Very, very similar in your invoices.
Correct.
Plus your before photos, your after photos. You've got a cost breakdown as well.
As many as you want.
The actual words written by the tradesman suddenly become like the lowest priority of the invoice. Was that on purpose? Or was that luck? How did that transpire? Because that was one of the really impressive bits.
Thank you for that. But no. The idea here is, if you think about it, what is a customer? I mean, I put myself as a client and say, what do I want to know? I really, when you actually get a job well done, while we negotiate about price, we don't think about the price tomorrow, day after. We're really proud of the job that is completed, either fantastic landscaping or light fitting or a plumbing job done without any problem. That's what we remember. right? That picture is all about what was it like before, what was it after.
Yep.
So taking the focus away from the money part of it.
Yes.
The couple of items just describes in the dollar, that's just for any business required as a transaction requirement.
Of
to do
course,
it, right?
yep.
And the money and so on. And the other thing they want to remember is, I call this fantastic tradie that done the job. When was the last time I did it? I can't remember. Whereas that invoice got all the details. This is what you love about Uber today. Right?
Yeah.
I just walked out of Uber just now before I come for an interview. And before I come upstairs, I had the interview. I had the invoice, I should say.
Yes.
Right? And which has actually had all the detail.
Yeah.
Exactly what time I left the city, what time I arrived here, all the detail. Even for future, I can just go back and refer to it. And that's the idea behind it. Because, like I said, the world is now changing. They're not really interested in all these itemized information. That is just a boring information. What the outcome I expected before and after. Why is a reality show today is the best watched movie, TV shows? Because they really see the world is changing before and after.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. You're presenting something in front of the client, how the world has changed, albeit a little maintenance job before and after. And that's what the whole focus is all about.
Just from a real business owner's low-level angle again, is there an option to pre-populate those fields in terms of the reports or not?
In terms of the actual invoice getting done?
Well, the description field that comes out on the
Yep.
invoice,
Yep.
can you pre-select that maybe off a code system?
Yes.
So you can. So
Yes.
then it will come through.
Correct. So
The same
when
every time.
When the requests come through for the first time,
Yes.
customer wants, say, a drainage job
Yep.
done. So there's a call-out fee, there is a inspection fee, then the dugout fee, whatever it is, all these different items.
Yes.
The business owner can select the inventory, tick, 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 tick.
Yep.
We'll probably have a standard price.
Mhm.
That gets populated automatically to the invoice. And at the time of delivering the invoice, the tradie on the road can actually modify that, because not always going to be the accurate, from the start to the finish. Either modify it or add more item to it and complete the invoice. Does it make sense?
So an owner back in the office can still run their eyes over that.
Correct.
So you're talking about materials, right? I'm talking.
Materials, labor, whatever it is.
I'm talking about an actual description. So, for example, if I go on a standard job,
Yep.
change a tap washer,
Yep.
can I have a code or a shorthand way of pre-populating that report?
Excellent point. That's what the AI comes into it. So what we would like to do, as we learn through this process, going through a little bit more, let's say this item is a tap leak, okay? From the previous invoices, we can actually artificially take and say, you also said this, and this in the past. Which
Yep.
one you want to select? Tick on it, that populates it.
Because
Are you with me what I'm trying to say?
I'm
So a
with
bit of
you
an
what you-
intelligent from the previous learning,
Yep.
and like what the Google Home does, or all these artificial intelligence are coming in, we can actually have those information. It's got to come after a period of time, and then he said, you also describe this tap leaking, this, and this. Which one do you want to tap?
Okay, so you get a choice of what you've done in the past. Because I'll tell you what we did, and whether it be a good method or not, I'm not sure. But we had issues with these in-field technician reports, because it's very hard, to do these things on your phone, particularly going back, a few years and getting consistency. So we had a code system where code 200, as an example,
Yeah.
would be this 5-line description of changing a tap washer. So it does a couple of things. One, it shortens your descriptions in the field, so
Yep.
people don't actually waste time, because a trades business, you get paid when your hands are actually, on the tools and working.
Correct.
But the second thing that did was it actually gives a job description for all your basic jobs, which makes training really easy as well.
Yep.
Because you say, was a leaking tap, you follow this 5-line procedure.
Correct.
So they kind of interlink like that.
Yep.
So it made training a little bit quicker,
Yeah.
if you like, and you get consistency through everything, rather than have 10 technicians who all send back 10 different descriptions for the exact same job.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep. So Matt, I think you brought two subjects here. On a customer perspective, tradies could have an option to say, do you want to put the detail there? Click on it. It attaches an attachment with the details of what that item means. That's
Yeah.
one option.
Yes.
Okay. Or expand to a level that really fits in with the invoice within reason amount, a
Yeah.
few words.
Yeah.
That's one option. I think you brought another example, excellent point, which I haven't thought about it serious enough.
Oh, I'm
which
glad
we
I
will
got
be-
one thing out.
Exactly. Which we're going to implement it, is employees training.
Yes.
Okay. If they really want to do a changing tap, right? Why can't they just tap into it, that resource, and get from the supplier that information to come up on the app to say, to do the change app, you need to follow this and this and this. So they can really, within the app, grab that artificial intelligence from the supplier or from employer created steps, if you want to call it, and that to come up on the page. And that's going to be a great one in the future.
So
you would see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, so secondary to the code system that we had, each of those codes included a standard list which sat beside the description inside a book that all of our technicians carried. Because another issue is that you'll get a job that comes back, again from a business owner's point of view, and there's materials that are forgotten or unlisted or whatever. So if you're doing payments at the time of completion, you really need a second set of eyes in most cases to run over that, because even myself, I mean, you change over a hot water service and you forget to add the hot water service, which makes a significant difference to the cost, the true cost of the job, and then in turn what gets invoiced. So you really want to keep that as accurate as possible, right?
Not only that, I actually noticed calling different tradies. I'm done quite a lot of owner builder houses myself.
Okay.
And what I noticed is certain taps that you go and buy, the tradies haven't even seen it before. So they have to go through a struggle of opening it up and so on. But once they've done one, if they can capture that information, and the next time they do it, it's already there for them, right? So that sort of information is going to be vital in terms of speeding up the training and so on. Going back to what the intention of this i4Tradies journey is all about: saving time, money, and getting it done just quickly.
That's my next question. How do you make money? How do the trades businesses pay for it? Where does your revenue come from?
Remember what I said, this is about pay-as-you benefit, right? I'm a great believer. If you can't deliver what the service is supposed to be, then you don't deserve to get that money from anyone. This is how the Uber works today, right? And this is how Netflix works. No contracts. You just watch it for a month. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's their job is to make sure that you get addicted to it, so you keep on renewing the subscription.
Well, it forces the business owner to be innovative and just keep the good stuff coming.
Correct. So in our point of view, we have a very simple system. We charge $1 for every request that comes through to the app or they create. And when the job is completed, we charge another $4. So $5 plus GST is all they pay as they completed it. So in terms of cash flow, in terms of cost of managing all of these that you talked about, cost $1,000 to create a particular software, it's all gone away. So how are we going to make the money? We're going to have a great system whereby everyone's using and putting a lot of transactions through. We have predicted there'll be something like 250,000 transactions will go through in a month within the next 3 years.
And that's based on the numbers that the uptake that you've already got. You've projected those forward to get them. Okay.
Correct.
So you pay per job. So if you can get, I'm just thinking out loud here again, another problem that this potentially helps alleviate really quickly is your cash flow, right? Because even though you're paying every job, if you can collect through the app very shortly on every job at the time and you don't have to chase money, then that cost just becomes insignificant, doesn't it?
Yeah. In the future, the near future, we're also going to encourage clients to put their credit card details upfront if they're dealing with them on a relationship point of view.
That's what I was asking before,
Yeah, prepaid automatically.
Is there anything else you want to add that's significant that we've missed about the i4Tradies app?
The thing is, so one thing that I really want to say to the trade services out there, if you have not changed the way your customer is wanting to get your service done, please look at i4Tradies. Even if you don't follow through and use it, but at least you get the experience to make sure that in the near future, you go and change your internal processes to move forward.
It costs nothing to try it, because you actually have got a free trial period, right?
Correct. We give anyone that really wanted to put all that information out there, give them a 1 month free trial, and after that, they can decide whether it's a good fit for them or not.
And they can leave at any time.
Correct.
You mentioned you've written a book previously. I want to dive into a little bit about you and your background and how you got here. What's the book? What's it on? I read a little bit of it. You sent me the book 2 days ago, so I've read a small part of it. Normally I read the entire book before I sit down for these interviews, but I didn't have time for this one being so short. But what's the book? What's it about?
Okay. Well, like I said, I have been focusing on digital marketing for about 14 years now.
Okay.
Ever since I quit my corporate life. Digital marketing, it's talked in many different ways by many experts and so on. I have a very simple explanation. Today, the digital marketing is all about socializing it, localizing it, mobilizing it, and intelligently targeting it. So I named the company that we do all the development work called Solomo IT. Social, local, mobile IT.
Okay.
That's the essence of digital marketing.
Right.
Then if you take the digital marketing today, why businesses want to use social, apart from the mobile and the localized come from the UPS technology and so on. The socializing is all about human interaction, right? So you and I are sitting here talking to each other. We are really driven by 5 senses. What we see, what we talk, what we feel about it, and what we smell and taste.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, the smell and taste are not online yet, right?
Although some people are trying and they're not too far away.
Well, I always jokingly say, if we have the smell and taste, we probably disconnect from some of the Facebook friends. Right?
Yeah. Very good.
Right? But the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic are the 3 things that dictate how we interact online.
Yep.
Right? So if you take Facebook, why has it become very popular? It's those 3 things. That whatever we share, we put the image, we say something about it, right? What I call it keywords in real search term online.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have the feeling that we can relate to, we get connected, we engage.
Yep.
Right? So if the businesses get that right, and then the whole point of having this i4Tradies app, we probably haven't covered it earlier, at the end of the job, by click of a button, the business owner can share their real-time job on Facebook or on LinkedIn or Twitter and so on.
So it makes that need for having that social presence.
Because people want to really say, this company out there doing real job and real work. And this allows them to do the social selling, which I call it, online immediately, not tomorrow, day after, and even alleviate the need to have a social media marketing company doing for them.
Yeah, because generating the content to share and spread is time consuming in itself, right?
Exactly.
And if it's made up, it can be perceived as not authentic because it's not. It's done for a purpose. Whereas you're talking about sharing actual jobs.
Correct. So what I try to do with the book, simplify the understanding of what digital transformation is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said again. It's essentially about listening to the client and making sure the client's needs are met.
Yeah.
Right? You go and do an outstanding job, forget about everything else because that will come to you.
Yeah.
Right? That really goes back to millions of years of customer service anyway. Just that the new technology, what we call it social, local, mobile, allows you to do it, or actually put it this way, if you don't, they allows you to voice it out there before you know it.
And what's the book called?
Guide to Digital Transformation for SMEs.
Okay, and that's available on
Amazon.
On Amazon, okay. How did you get to the trade space?
Well, it's interesting. Over the last 10 years, as we were managing outsourcing work of a lot of SMEs, we just happened to bump across a lot of tradies,
Mm-hmm.
plumbers, electricians, and so on, who actually trusted us to develop their website, develop their digital marketing strategy, and also manage it on an ongoing basis.
So you've run that for a number of companies for a number of years now?
Well, now almost a decade, or more than a decade. Plumbing, electrician, and so on.
Yep.
And one of the things that I consistently notice is, for us to do a real good job out of it, they have to give us information. But tradies, as you know, they're always on the road. The last thing, they even forget to do invoicing the client, let alone giving us the information that we know.
It's true. That's so true, yeah.
Yeah, it's real.
Oh, yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah.
So what I decided is, how can I make it easy? And then when I wrote this book, Digital Transformation for SMEs, when I saw these industries like taxi industry, hotel industry, media industry, all of these chain through Uber and Airbnb and Netflix and so on, I said, I have actually got a lot of experience in this field. What can I do to change this world? And I've also been a migrant of Australia for the last 30 odd years. And I thought I need to do something back to the community and put these two together. Tradies come to my mind, and who are really struggling or don't understand what this technology is all about. So my idea of i4Tradies is to really simplify that and make it simple for them to use it. At the same time, understand the journey that is taking place and move it. And talking to most of the tradies that have seen it, including yourself, I think we have gone a long way towards that. I won't say we are 100%. We are probably about 80% down the line. The other 20% will fix it, which is what I want to do over the next 3 to 5 years.
It's a big job that you've got ahead of you, I've got to say.
For sure.
But it certainly seems from what I've come across so far that you're on the right path, for sure. And previously to working in the digital transformation space, I think you called it, what's your career been?
Okay.
So we can understand a little bit of how the journey
Sure.
In.
I've been always in the IT industry throughout. I started my life with BHP as their PC support and their network manager nationally over the 8 years. And I probably go back to a long time before even PCs come along. So I've actually say I can claim I was the first one to install the Apple Macintosh at BHP, first one to install the IBM PS2 in BHP, and that's how I go back.
Yep.
And also I go back to the DOS days for Microsoft.
Yep.
Today I'm a brand ambassador for Microsoft, but I go back a long way, even the inception of Microsoft, in terms of seeing the whole journey where they come from. Coming back to my journey from then on, my itchy feeling taking me to promoted within BHP to become their national network manager, managing the entire network for BHP, nationally being in Australia. From then on,
computer network?
Yeah, all the computer network.
Got it,
Yeah. So then I moved on to Cathay Pacific, the airline, become their global network manager, doing the same thing but globally.
Yes.
And from there, I moved on into sales and marketing. That's now about 20 years ago with a company called CETA, based in Geneva, where I actually managed the airline alliances. When the alliances were born, all these One World Alliance and Star Alliances and so on, Star Alliance and so on, they needed a person that really understand the customer perspective. So actually, I was invited to be part of that process, managing that for CETA, which is the largest network company owned by the airlines, based in Geneva. So I worked there for about 4 years.
And that involves getting all the airlines' own individual data, or at least some of it talking to each other.
Correct.
For one thing, it'd be like reward programs and that sort of stuff.
Well, CETA owned the largest internet before the internet was born. The private
network.
Correct.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Interesting. And you managed that?
Well, when I say I manage it, when I went into CETA, I was managing the customer expectation of that global network.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of new team. I mean, big team globally. But my job was to really get the alliances for the first time, getting together, trying to get CETA to really have a common theme, rather than dealing with them on one-on-one basis.
Yeah.
So I was given that job of listening to their needs and coming back and so on. That's why my customer focus started, because my job will always have been working from BHP to Cathay Pacific to CETA, always giving the eye on the customer. Because I think when you listen to the client, that's what the goal happened for the company.
So your whole career has basically been making customers' needs, wants and desires heard, and then make it digital.
Make it happen.
Your team that puts this together, I'm assuming it's not you banging away on a keyboard between...
Well, I can't be everywhere. I'm not a coder. No, I'm not. I have a fantastic team of 20 people today.
Yep.
Sachi, who's actually one of the UN brand ambassador for developing apps, and I'm lucky to have him as part of our team. He's a co-founder. Then we have Arnold, who has come from a media software development background, software as a service that is, who's actually leading a team of people based in Sri Lanka, where I own that company as well, and where we actually develop the software. And
so that's where the back end to i4Tradies is all
done overseas, my own company. And also the marketing part of it, that we have team globally, believe it or not, that does all the marketing for us. So all the i4Tradies marketing, content writing is all done in many parts of the countries, many parts of the world that people actually work for us.
Just a couple more questions,
sure,
Logan, then we'll wrap up. What's the biggest oversight you've had in this process of putting i4Tradies together?
Well, the biggest oversight is I never realized that how this can really help the fourth element, the facilities managers, that we can actually bring them in. That was my biggest oversight, because I was actually thinking at the mom and dad consumer level.
Yes.
But before I knew it, I didn't realize that this could fit in. The other one really make my kinesthetic feeling come to my surface is I never thought I could actually help that hearing impacted people to use our service.
Yeah.
To
Amazing.
me, that was a huge surprise and a huge satisfaction as well out of the whole thing.
It's crazy what it could do for people in that position, right?
Yeah.
And just and like you said before, the elderly and that sort of thing, and monitoring those jobs. It's it's amazing, really.
Well, the thing is, Matt, I haven't been there in the industry for 34 years and dealing with a lot of international community. I lived in Europe, Asia, and Australia for many part of my working life. One thing is common. You listen to people and give them outstanding service, the rest happens. In fact, I call it my industry, shit happens. You know what that shit stands for? Strategically harnessing information technology. That's the acronym.
Very good.
That happens.
I like it. You're obviously a tech guy. What apps do you have on your home screen of your mobile?
On my mobile,
Yeah.
I have it, all the disruptive technology I have it. I'm actually a Google Home user right now. Everything is automated. As you can see here, I got the Apple Watch.
Yeah. What do you think of Google Home?
A Google Home is long way to go. It is a bit of a cumbersome right now, but I think it's going to very quickly mature over the next 2 years.
We got one recently, not to get too far off track here, but you kind of got to teach it, right? It's a
Correct.
weird thing. You've got to start
Correct.
talking to it in a certain way so it understands.
That's exactly. This is a model of artificial intelligence that we talked about earlier. Like i4Tradies can only mature from that knowledge base that we're going to collect over a period of time.
Yeah.
Then only it can really come better. Same with Google Home. That it, as over the period of time, is get to know your voice, is listening, and it's got a security aspect of it too. People are got to be aware of, right? That everything that you talk around the house is getting listened.
Yeah.
And somebody can tap into it too.
Yes.
So that's, you got to watch it. However, this is the way that the future is working. And looking at my son, it doesn't matter which part of the world he travels, he can still use his mobile to watch his daughter at home, right? This is how the future is heading.
That's where it's going.
So-
Yeah, I agree. Well, my kids are nearly 3, and they sit there and talk to Google Home.
There you go.
And try to talk to Google Home. So
My
it's going that way for sure.
My granddaughter is already requesting all the songs that she wants to Google Home.
Oh yeah, they
Amazing
get
to
that
watch.
pretty quick. Yeah. If you click your fingers, Logan, and have it all done in 10 years, where do you sit?
Well, I hope that I become a great advocate for this technology, how that the journey has taken place. And for me, educate a lot of youngsters, a lot of people, right? That's my journey. In 10 years, if you see Logan Nathan around, he'll be actually educating a lot of people and making sure that change and learning is part of their lifestyle.
So if you strip it all back, education and learning is really at the core of what you're about. Am I getting that right?
Correct. You got it. That's why my passion come through. I always have been educating. I tell this to people again and again. When you're actually teaching somebody, you're actually learning more than the other person.
Yeah, that's true. That's come up quite a few times in my discussions. Yeah. If you want to learn, teach for sure.
That's why I tell every youngster, get up there, write an article about whatever you do. Even if you think that's not valuable, please put it online. You know why? That little thing that somebody learned from out of that article is a huge thing. So recently, I think you know that, I've actually got the drone and got one of our, a couple of our clients, electrician and a plumber, to start using it. And we have done a story out of it. It does not directly impacts i4Tradies, although it will in the future. But for me, it's about educating the way that things are changing, how quickly the information is changing, the way that we work is changing. And that's the key to the whole thing.
And also customers will know that tradesmen that operate in this environment are going to be on that forefront of technology, pushing themselves, trying to do new things, trying to implement better ways. And that mentality, I think, is very important for not only customers to know and engage with, but also for things like, which is a lot of times, I guess, seen as like a second tier, which is recruitment of employees and that sort of thing. If you don't have something like this in place, in 5 years' time, if you try and employ a first-year apprentice, you're not going to employ them, are you?
Correct.
Because they're just not going to. They're not going to leave this world to go back to pen and paper when they've never had to be part of it.
Well, my prediction, Matt, is just on the employee side of it. If you're a business owner, you're not going to have an employee working for you all the time. My very near future, the employees will be working for typically 2-3 companies at any point in time, right? And they want to get the best out of employers for their benefit. Likewise, employers need to get the best out of their employees. So that's why this trade services industry is going to change rapidly. That tradies on the road, that we see them, they're not going to work for one company. They'll be choosing which company they want to work, what time, and so on, just like the Uber car drivers. Likewise, for the employers, better to tap into the best resource available by showing the best way the job can be done. That's what this i4Trade is all about again.
Just a further extension of this share economy, isn't it?
Correct.
Question that I ask everyone, Logan, I know you've listened to the podcast a few times, so you've probably heard it. If you could have one law changed, what would it be? It doesn't have to be anything to do with what you're doing now in the app, but just to give us a bit of an insight as to how you think more broadly. If you could have one law change, what would it be?
Law change today that we have an unconditional use of a service that we decide to pay only if you want to benefit out of it.
So get rid of all membership,
Correct.
forward-paying things, and have everything paid on the value you extract from, in your case, an app.
Correct.
Or a system.
Correct.
I like it. Keeps people honest, doesn't it?
It does.
Now, if someone listens to this, likes the idea, where do they go? Where do they find you?
Thank you for asking. They visit i4Tradies, letter I, number 4tradies.com.au. And first thing, if you are a trade business owner, take the Smart Tradie test.
Okay.
That's on the first page. You click on it, and you'll be asking series of questions. This is just want to make sure that you're ready to go into i4Tradies. I think you have done that yourself.
Yeah, I have. So
Going through that.
it's a bit of a check to make sure you're ready for
Correct.
this change.
Correct.
Well, I'm going to let you get back to your day, Logan. Thanks for carving out some time, stopping in and doing this. Been a blast.
Thank you very much, Matt. You're a superstar yourself, and listen to a lot of your podcasts. And I'm really privileged to be part of your podcast interviewers.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. So cheers. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey everybody, it's Matt again. Thanks for listening. Just a couple of things before you guys clock off. You can get all Trench Talk episodes at xrm.com.au/podcast. You can also sign up for other goodies at the same site. Just plonk your email in there and you are covered. That's X for X-ray, R for Romeo, M for Mike.com.au/podcast. If you really like what I'm bringing you, please head to iTunes, subscribe to this show and leave a review right there. And lastly, if you want to contact me directly, type the @ symbol followed by Mr. Matt Reynolds into your search bar and you'll find all the social links. Goodbye.